Commissioners meeting on Thursday, February 27th, 2025 at 10:02 a.m. And we'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mary, roll call, please.
Chair Rebecca Reed.
Here.
Secretary Paul Lewicki.
Here.
Commissioner Debbie Bush Schmidt.
Here.
Commissioner Pamela Legria.
Here.
Commissioner Charles Withers. Here. Commissioner Tracy McDonald.
Here.
And Commissioner Guillermo Romero.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Are there any public comments? Jason, do you see any? Thank you. Robert.
Oh, Robert.
Okay. All right. Yes, Robert.
Good morning, commissioners and staff members and other guests. I am Bob Bomer, and I'm the president of Arch Cape Falcon Cove Beach Community Club. It's a 501c3, not-for-profit, all-volunteer organization. I am here today briefly and simply to continue a conversation which began recently between the Transit District and the Community Club about both short-term and long-term solutions to bus transportation needs of our community. In the recent past, in my role as president of this small community club, I've received a good deal of input from our community members about the needs of aging residents to travel to important events such as medical appointments. These residents are often unable to drive for various reasons and have been confused, uncertain about transportation options. One of our residents, well over 80, a very determined gentleman, recently became unable to drive, and after becoming frustrated about his ability to flag down a bus on US 101, he hitchhiked to Seaside for a medical appointment. I have had very positive interactions with your interim executive director and your mobility manager, Debbie Booth Schmidt and Jason Jones, about options such as paratransit and RidePal, and they have expressed a willingness to work with us to investigate short and long-term solutions. Just briefly, to make sure that all of you know, Arch Cape and Falcon Cove Beach are the southernmost area in Clatsop County. We are about 262 residents. There's 437 dwellings in the community. Perhaps most notably, the average age of our residents is 71 years of age, and we've got the highest concentration of short-term rentals in Clatsop County as well. We've got, at my last count, 102. The reason for my brief comments today is we'd like your support and assistance in clearly communicating to residents and our many visitors who are able to take the bus on their own the steps they need to take to safely catch a bus on its regular schedule from a location near their home or the place they are visiting, and to clearly communicate paratransit options to those who do qualify. In the long term, we would really like to establish some well-marked and safe bus stops, ideally covered and well-lit shelters at designated spots along Highway 101 at the north and south end of Arch Cape and in Falcon Cove Beach on 101. Ideally, since traffic moves there at a pace that is way too fast for the safety of residents, we'd like to ideally and in the long term include crosswalks and speed control on Highway 101. But that's the long term. In the short term, we'd just like to continue the very positive conversation that has begun to get our residents well informed about how to catch a bus and get to their important meetings. And I greatly appreciate the conversation that has already started and look forward to working with all of you to accomplish this. Thank you very much for this opportunity to make this brief comment.
Thank you, Mr. Beamer. Your issues are very important to us, and we really appreciate that you've articulated that for us today.
Okay. Can I just add one thing? Robert, Brian from the general manager from Tillamook County is also on the line, so he's also heard everything that you've said. His bus line is the one that goes through Arch Cape, so he has heard all your comments this morning also.
Thank you, and I look forward to talking with him as well. I placed an initial phone call to him yesterday and missed the opportunity to speak with him, but I will follow up with it on that call.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Charles?
Robert, I'm Charles Withers. I live in Cannon Beach. Making a stop on the highway can be complicated.
Yes.
If we know. But how about with places like Arch Cape Inn, which is on the east side of the highway, be willing to let the bus pull in there? Would that help your ridership or not? Or would they be willing to let the bus pull in there?
That would help a great deal. As you know, there's also Department of Transportation site at the south end of town where the Cannon historical site is located. It's got a very safe turnout, and that space would also be in my thought, a great space for a bus stop.
Yes, I see it would be just off the highway because that's problematic.
Okay. Mr. Beamer, thank you very much for taking the time today. We'll be in touch.
Thanks so much, and you all have a great meeting.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, any more public comments? No. All right. Approval of the January 9th and January 23rd board minutes. Any comments?
I would make the motion to approve those.
Motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Second? Guillermo? All right, discussion? None heard? Can we get a roll call on that?
Okay. Chair Rebecca Reed,
Yes.
Secretary Treasurer Paul Wiki.
Yes.
Commissioner Debbie Schmidt.
Sorry.
Yes.
Who are you?
Right.
All right. Sorry about that. Commissioner Pamela Legria.
Yes.
Commissioner Charles Withers.
Yes.
Commissioner Tracy McDonald.
Yes.
And Commissioner Palermo.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, next on our agenda is reports from chair and commissioners. I'll start out with a very brief comment today. Other than the work that I've been doing is mostly on the recruiting committee that I serve on. But in addition to that, I wanted to mention, and I will bring this up with the director, Debbie, is that I think we need to add to the agenda of our next meeting, discussion of the possible federal funding shortfalls or cuts and by the current administration. And I think that I would be happy to be the person to do some lead work on that and prepare something for our packet for next month so that we can be prepared and be aware of, what's happening and keep in contact with those that can provide us more information, and also to build an alliance with other regional transportation entities so that we can be a united voice to advocate for our needs. So that's just basically a comment, but Debbie, if we can talk about that and get that on the agenda for.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, so other commissioners, so let's start with Tracy.
So I've also been attending some seminar and online activity that's been going on, particularly both with the legislature and Oregon Department of Transportation. I would like to promote this idea of the March 12th meeting in Salem.
Oh, yes.
And if it's possible, possibly we can group together, make a little surgeon to that March 12th date. I think we would benefit from that. Okay.
Is there some information that we can all access
Yes.
after today to find out more about this?
I believe SDAO has it,
Yeah,
their staff.
I can send it
You
out to
distribute
everybody.
that?
I can send it out to everybody. I can talk more about it during my report too.
Okay, very
Yeah.
good. Thank you for bringing that up, Tracy.
Okay.
Pam?
I'm also on the recruitment committee and represent the board on the Transportation Advisory Committee. We're in the process, which will start March 13th, on reviewing the bylaws. We are going to review an applicant for the Transportation Advisory Committee because we're a bit short on members, which have the number of members in this advisory committee has decreased over the years. And I'm not sure why. I don't know whether it's been neglected, but hopefully we can work on something that people would be interested in attending, because the members should represent the community, and we don't have that representation anymore. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Guillermo?
Good morning. It's good to be here today. And I don't have anything to report, but I just want to make a comment. I'm glad we're meeting formally to address the potential federal fallout. As all you know, I just recently retired, but I'm still active in our retiree sublocal. And so I'm also on another committee to address this very issue. And so I'm really glad that you're doing that. There's a lot of other separate entities that are doing that because it's very scary. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you, Guillermo. I appreciate that.
Just keep the faith.
That's right. We all know what we need to do. Keep working here diligently. Paul?
Yeah, I just want to mention that I attended the town hall meeting that was held out at the college. When was that already? Earlier this week? Saturday, yeah.
Didn't see you.
I didn't see you either, but I saw you. Anyway, it was well attended, it was well spirited, and I would just encourage whenever you have a chance to attend those. It's a good way just to stay aware and to give some feedback and to feel a part of the community that's pulling together at these times. So it was an hour well spent.
Good, good. And, you know, we have representatives, if people are speaking up from various corners of the community, like we represent transportation, then that provides our leaders with more information that they need to do their job.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay.
What about Charles?
Oh, Charles.
What about me? What about me? Couple things. I checked my calendar to make sure that I wasn't commenting on the Homeless Connect, but I wasn't early. I want to thank the work that Jason did. It was spectacular. We saw a lot of folks. And Madam Chair, we were there together at one point, and Stephanie was there. And it's always refreshing, not refreshing as in a joyful way, but refreshing that we're out there reaching out to the entire community and not just those who can sustain themselves, but those who can't or need help sustaining. So it was a wonderful time. I was glad to do it. It brings on it touches your heart to see the folks out there and how happy they are to see us, and the gifts we give out are just priceless. I mean, they're small to us, but to them, a reflector for walking around at night, and they'll ask, "Can I get one for my dog too?" And we say, "Of course you can." And so, you know, it's a wonderful thing, and I'll do it every year as long as we're doing it, and I appreciate doing it very much so. I know there's been some talk about ice in the area and ice, and I cannot be remiss that our ridership is quite large. Latinx in the Latinx community, quite substantive. I don't know where we stand on letting say ICE come on the buses or come to the transit center and all that, but somewhere down the road, I would hope that we could talk about that maybe in a special meeting or a separate meeting to see where we feel about that, because our ridership, you all know this, is quite a bit Latinx, Hispanic, however you want to phrase it. And so I'd be willing to sit in on any committee where we address this, and hope it, and I think we really should, because you know, we're part of that community as well. So other than that, I appreciate the work I appreciate Debbie for stepping up and taking on the interim chair, and for Rebecca, interim director, and for Rebecca for stepping up as the interim chair of the commission. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Charles. And Debbie, I noted that maybe we can talk about ICE, where we fit into our next meeting agenda.
And maybe to look up what a sanctuary state means in terms of how you handle situations.
What are the current laws?
Right.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
I noticed our diversity statement was pasted on the front door this morning, so I appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you.
We're not taking it down.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, for financials, Kelly?
I don't have a board report. I'll wait until.
Come on now, you've done something, board. I know you have. Good morning. In response to the federal funding, it's on my list to reach out to Arla and see, you know, kind of how ODOT is feeling and where they kind of think things are going with that. Our advantage kind of at this point is that we do have contingency, so that will help us for, you know, some time. We're maintaining at this point, you know, moving forward, and and staying within our guidelines of spending, so that's helpful. I'm not always the favorite when it comes to that, but I definitely am the one that steps up and says no thanks. So we're moving along on that. Jennifer submitted quarterly reports this month to ODOT, so we'll see, kind of how that falls right now as far as receiving our reimbursements for that. I expect it to not be as quick as it has been. Those went in the 18th, right? Mm-hmm. So the previous couple of quarters, we've been receiving it within a couple of weeks, but I don't necessarily see that happening right now. So past that, I'm getting ready to start into budget. So I sent out to our department heads yesterday for budget wants and needs and whys and hows and those kinds of things. So that is out to them. I will get to working on that in March. And then we have training. Mary put the schedule in the packet. Training starts end of April, I believe it is, at our April board meeting. So we will work on that. Past that, Paul still got our statements this month from the bank. But Mallory has assured me that that is fixed. I actually got an email from her yesterday that says it should all be fixed and they should all be coming back here again. So that was kind of a long drawn out fiasco that didn't quite work the way we wanted it, but that's okay. We've gotten past that. We worked it out. We did, yeah. So that's good. Any questions for me?
Pam.
So this month, the expenses, are higher than the revenue, which is about $126,000. The other, these are just mentioning, this is like signs, shall we say, is that, I know you told us when I asked the question about line items, so that, for example, you do mention, and I really like this, the exceptions for professional services is 0. So that where does that money come out of? And can you put that as a note, like whatever? Because that helps budgeting also.
Right. Well, and professional services this year are
right
out of whack for a number of things.
Right.
Unforeseen. And it really just comes out of the materials and services. So it's, line item by line item, it doesn't have to be perfect. If we're sitting within the realm for materials and services, I know you want it to come from a specific line item, but it just doesn't. It just kind of all melds together at that point. The line items are just for us to be able to look at and just kind of see where we're at, and for us to be able to look going forward for budget forward. But we know why our professional services are so out of whack this year.
No, I understand that. It's just an example.
Right, but there's not a specific line item that it would come from. It's materials and services as a whole.
So I guess that the concern I have is, well, I don't know if that's the right word, but why I pushed the line items is that you can look at it, and as a board we can look at it, because we just see basically what the executive director and you do, and then some of the decisions we're not sure how they were formed, and it would be whether, like, that's
decision, like, as to what the funds were spent on.
Well, do we need to spend funds on certain things? Like fuel's is going up.
Fuel is fuel, right? It's a must.
Okay, so, but there are other things that perhaps, because really, realistically, in my view anyway, in the next 4 years, transit across the country is not going to have much money.
Right.
And even on the state level, they never mention transit. They go transportation, and then they have a big project going on in the Portland metropolitan area, so that every month it seems to me that you have to look at it and make sure that you're spending
appropriately. And as I've said, I'm the no person, so I do my best to say no as much as I possibly can. You can ask Jason and Jennifer.
And I appreciate that.
And there's just some things that are out of my hands, and there's situations that happen and funds that end up having to be spent that aren't budgeted for, that, you know, you just kind of, we're thankful that we didn't have to replace the roof on the transit center. I mean, really, because that's, when I budgeted, I kept that was part of my budget, my thought process, right, was if we have to replace the roof, so we have those funds there. Unfortunately, those funds get used somewhere else, so it's just kind of a balancing act, and it's just, you know, really watching. And Debbie and I have talked about, at what point do we squeeze? Are we at a squeeze point yet? No, not quite. We're still okay. You know, but we do talk about what's being spent, what we need to spend, and that was, you know, when I sent out for budget for this next year. And I did it early so that we have the opportunity to come together as a team and have an idea of what we're going to be looking at next year, where we're going to be, what the federal funding is possibly going to look at, you know, to kind of have an idea, how much do we need to squeeze? Where do we have room to wiggle? What are we going to be able to do? You know, we're also looking at bringing on a new director. What's that going to look like for us? We currently don't have an HR person, so we have that expense that will be coming back.
You don't have any what person?
HR.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we're hiring for that. You know, so those are things that are coming up that we know are gonna change, and so that's gonna change, you know, that piece a little bit too. So it's just a watching game. I'm constantly watching where we're at, what we're spending. You know, Jennifer's in communication with me about what she has coming up, what we're going to be looking at, you know, when we're going to be needing to spend something.
And if I might, that's kind of what the board should expect, is that you're looking at the line items, that you're working within the groups of expenditures to make sure that we don't exceed budget. But the law says that you can exceed the budget by 10%. If it ever goes beyond that, we have to do a supplemental budget. With all due respect here, I don't know that it serves any purpose to talk about individual line items at this meeting when we are not over budget.
No, we're not over budget.
It's beyond a practical level that we can address at every monthly meeting. If we go over budget, I'm sure there'll be a discussion. But over budget at the group totals, not at the line items. That's what staff is paid to take care of.
We are more than halfway through the year, and our revenue, or our expenses is at less than 50%. We're at 48.18%. So we're under budget on expenses.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I see.
And that's the bottom line. If we have to take money out of dues and subscriptions, because they've only spent 24% of their line item for something, but we don't do it by line.
Mm-hmm. Well, my concern is that the next 4 years is going to be slim. And so I am concerned, you know, you keep saying, everyone's saying this is a good budget, which it is at this point, but it's going to change. And that I'm concerned about the $900,000 contingency, which is a nice sum, but it could be spent very easily because of the uncertainty, and we can't tell people, I'm sorry, the money isn't here yet, as has happened.
Right. And I'll tell you, just for myself, going through shutdown and going to the point of no money makes me a little overbearing about spending money. I mean, I try to be, you know, probably overcautious sometimes of, you know, do we really need that? Do we really need to do that? You know, Jennifer is great about staying in communication with, you know, things that she knows is going to come up. And I think those are important. And as a team, I assure you, we are working super hard to not only stay within budget, to stay below budget, and to make sure that when we do our budget for the next fiscal year, that it's sound, this was a good budget. I feel like we did a great job of putting this budget together and staying where we needed to stay within as a whole, like Paul says, you know, not line item. I can't control every line item, but I can watch as a whole and make sure that we're staying where we need to be. And I think that we're doing that.
And this is another thing I would like to mention. There's a board policy that any expense over $10,000 should be approved by the board, which did not happen with the $20,000. You gave us the invoice for HR that's already spent, if I understood it.
The check was not made when that was approved.
What? So
it was approved, the process was approved to go through the HR investigation and the training. All of that was approved. The actual payment of it is what has to be approved by the board. So the invoice was brought to the board for approval to process the payment.
So it's already done. We just have to say yes, because, so what is the point of having the policy? If
It's so that you're aware that it's happening.
It's so that a check can't be written without you knowing it, that's all.
We may have to exceed it.
And it was approved to be able to go through that process.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. We got a couple of comments here. I don't know who is first.
Guillermo was first.
Guillermo?
You had mentioned that the cost for services that is out of control, whatever adjective you used, did that include, I know we've encumbered a lot of legal fees this year, is that one of those items?
Legal fees, professional services are the two. Training at this point in time, if you looked at the training line, it's over budget as far as the line goes. We had budgeted additional for training in hopes of being able to provide additional training for our staff and managers in a different format. It was used for HR answers. And fortunately, when we wrote the budget last year, we had some items like a roof that we thought we were going to have to replace that we didn't have to replace. And so it's given us some leeway to afford to do those things that were done.
And Charles?
Okay, or Guillermo, were you finished?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Charles?
I sort of agree with Paul. I think what we have to do is, there's this fear of what happened last year, that it's going to somehow creep up on us and happen again. I think we're in a way better place now than we were. There's a lot more roadblocks and you know, warning whistles and warning signs. We'd be remiss if we didn't trust in our people who we hired to do this job, to do this, and we feel confident in it. But I think as it's just a single item lining the budget every time is just not showing the trust we have in them. I know where we were, but I think we know we're like that now. I think we have people in place who will make sure that we don't go there again. And I'd rather not just, you know, there's the old Southern phrase, nickel and dime the budget, because I don't think that's really why we're here.
Thanks, Charles.
Thank you,
These are
Charles.
good questions, and Kelly, appreciate the thoughtful answers on those.
Comment.
Oh, Tracy.
In the Marine Corps, when we have a situation, we learn from the situation and we do better. And I think we're doing better. So that's, and I would reiterate Commissioner Weathers' comments about staff doing their job. Okay?
Great. Thank you, Kelly. Okay.
Mary, will you enter those financials into the minutes?
Mary, would you please enter the financials into the minutes?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Thanks, Debbie. Okay, next up is Executive Director recruit update and timeline. I'll represent the three of us, Pam and Paul and I, have been working with our contractor, George Dunkel from SDAO. With the small applicant pool that we ended up with only 5 applicants, we agreed that we needed to extend the timeline, which we have done. You have a copy of that in your packet. We needed the extra month, so we have a deadline now of March 14th for applications. We realized that, there is a nervous job market now, and that was probably some of the reasons why we had a small applicant pool. We have chosen to expand our announcement outreach. Mary has done a great job of helping us out with that and getting that into some additional media. And the other, so if anybody has any, questions about the process, now's a good time. But I'm also going to point out to us, you've got this in your packet, which is just kind of basically an FYI, but we would like to get the board's approval on this because it is the interview panel, how we are going to roll that out on interview day. And that is, we have 2 scenarios, and you can see that, well, no, I guess I didn't note that, but scenario 1 is the one that we are recommending. This is a 2-page item. The advantage of having this format is that there's morning and afternoon. This is the way it's set up, is that in the morning, the board, the community panel meets with and interviews an applicant, and the board has an opportunity separately to interview each applicant. And then at lunchtime, then we gather together with the panel and the board to discuss and get a consensus on the top 1 to 3 semifinalists. And then in the afternoon, we have more of an in-depth board-only interviews. So that is more of an enhanced option than scenario 2, which is basically really the board. See, I wrote board and community panel. That should have just been community panel, is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, okay, so it was, and then the scenario 2 does not have the advantage, the board does not have the advantage of having interviewed them initially. That would just be the community panel. So if anybody has any thoughts on this or whatever, Charles does. Charles.
That's okay, Madam Chair. I think we've gone past what I was going to ask. I can wait. We've moved past what the question I had. I guess my question is briefly, we had 5 applications, I guess, and we did not like any of them, or we think they met the finer points of what we were looking for. Or do we want to are we aiming for a number that we want 10 applicants? Is that what we're doing, or just trying to find applicants that have sort of what we want to see?
Well, we're relying upon, George, because we've hired him as a professional who knows how to weed through these applications. And he felt that there was not a sufficient pool in order for us to do a robust interviewing and the process. So that's, we're going with what George has to say. He's done this for quite a long time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if nobody else has any comments on it, or
I just have a question. So the committee is recommending that we do the scenario first.
the first page one, scenario number 1.
Okay, all right. So, okay, all right. I'm just wondering.
Debbie, as a board member, I agree with scenario one. I think the board should have a chance to interview all 5 applicants, not just the top 3 that the community decides on. So
Okay.
I would also say scenario 1.
Okay, all right. I'm not sure if we need a vote on this. I guess if there's anybody opposed to it, then we need to talk it over some more. Is there anyone opposed to the scenario 1? Okay, all right, well then we'll just go with that. And we'll have another update next month.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, update on the fiscal year 2026 budget meeting timeline. And
Oh, I guess that's
Kelly,
me.
is that you? You're on.
Darn, I thought I was done. Budget training, April 24th, noon to 1, so that's after our April board meeting. And then we have our first committee meeting, May 8th, from 10 to 2, and then our second one to finalize, hopefully, is the plan, May 22nd.
No.
What
And
are we saying now?
I'm
can I
sorry, go ahead.
interrupt for a second? I think the one that's in the packet, is this right? Is this the one that was incorrect?
Is that the one that?
So do you want to read off the new
Yeah.
times?
Yeah.
Right.
Is that not right?
Right as you read.
Mary?
I sent a new packet to each of you, and I sent a separate,
Okay, so people could make a copy of that.
yeah,
Yours
but
is right. Yours says
I
correct.
can make another copy,
Oh,
but you
okay.
have it,
All right,
You
so
have-
we have them.
and it says corrected.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, it didn't go out
Just
to
make
anybody
sure
but the
you've got
board.
the revised one.
Yeah.
Can we
so
go,
you-
can we just
I need
state the
to revise
dates
them.
just quickly while I got my calendar open? Just paper.
I have the old one.
April 24th,
Yeah.
from 12 to 1 is budget training.
Okay,
May 8th, I'm just looking at my calendar as I go through these. May 8th is our first committee meeting, and that's from 10 to 2. And then our second committee meeting is May 22nd from 12 to 2. And then our third, if we should need a third, would be June 12th from 10 to 12.
thank you.
Got it.
Great, thanks, Kelly.
Yes. So, and I will put the training together and be ready for that in April.
And that's
Check
all
your
here
emails.
in this room.
All here in this room. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, for new business, approval of Brian Vitale, application Transportation Advisory Committee.
Okay,
And procedure on that, Mary, can you remind me here, is it, we
The board
just
just-
vote, we need a motion in a second?
What page is that?
Okay, do we have a
Page
motion?
28.
Page 23, Charles.
23, all right, thanks.
Madam
Uh,
Chair,
28.
I would,
Oh, I'm sorry, 28.
I would move that we appoint Brian to the Transportation Advisory.
I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, should we get a roll call for that?
Sure. Sorry about that.
Or do we need a roll call?
No, we should. Chair Rebecca Reed,
Yes.
Secretary Treasurer Paul Lewicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Debbie Booth Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Pamela Alegria,
Yes,
Commissioner Charles Withers,
Yes,
Commissioner Tracy McDonald,
Yes,
and Commissioner Glenn
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Great, thanks,
Yay,
Mary.
Brian.
And boy, this is really
thank you.
Brian
Thank
on
you.
board. Thank you very much. You're very qualified and we're lucky
We
to have you.
appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you very much. All right, we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
All righty, thank
Thanks,
you.
Brian.
Thank you.
thank you,
Bye-bye.
Brian. Thank you, Brian.
Okay. Next up, Oregon Coast Visitors Association Shuttle.
I don't have that page, whatever.
I don't think we have a page.
No.
Oh,
we
Okay,
don't.
can somebody
We're just
report
gonna
on
do-
it?
I can report on it somewhat. It's,
Okay.
so if you folks remember, quite a few months ago, Finn Johnson did a presentation of a pilot that they're trying out. Evidently, they're moving forward. They're getting money from the tourism visitors. And they pretty much are going to duplicate the same routes that Point does from Portland out here, our bus system, SETD, and Tillamook. We've talked to them several times about maybe doing the Highway 30 instead of 26. They're totally against that. We tried to set up a meeting with them again for tomorrow. They turned us down for that. They're not easy to work with.
Do they want our advice, Debbie? They just gonna do what they wanna do?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Hang on
that's
just a minute,
what I-
Mary, go.
I was just gonna say,
Impression I got
I've
there.
tried to research and find information online, and it's very quiet right now.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of information, so I don't know what that means.
They're only
Is
gonna be
it-
running 3 days a week. They can't necessarily say they won't pick up our riders. So we're that's kind of where we're at right now with this.
It's designed to be a point-to-point, all-day field trip like a charter bus. And to pick up the people in Portland and have them not on the highway and have them stop at a point, probably Astoria or something similar, because as Debbie said, it goes everything that the Point bus system does. And then keep them as tourists in that particular area, gather them all back up and go back home the same route that they came.
But that's not the way they've always said, well, we can take anybody from point to point.
Right.
And they've already got they can follow us, they can be a few minutes ahead. They haven't given us what their
They
planned
haven't given us a
schedule.
schedule.
Why do we care?
They take some of our riders.
Take them where they want to go?
Mhm.
That'd be terrible.
No, it cuts
Well,
in.
it's not terrible, but there goes our funding.
That's exactly right.
Well,
And they're a for-profit, not a non-profit.
I guess what I'm saying is that we could spend a lot of time trying to end run them on this thing, but if they're not gonna work with us,
Yeah.
then I think they should do their own thing. If it creates a problem for us, if it interferes with what we do, I think ODOT needs to address that. But if they think that they're gonna come into our plaza with their buses, then I think they need to sit down at the table and we need to negotiate something. Otherwise, I don't see that they can use our facilities or our schedules or anything. And I think that it could be counterproductive for us to try to defeat them when they aren't willing to come to the table.
Yeah.
If they did take some of our ridership, we're talking about such a small percentage or portion of a percentage point of our revenue that I would hate to see us get in a big thing over this, failure to communicate by another entity, which they can do what they want to do. My thoughts.
Thank you. Pam?
So the money is coming from the tourism pot of money. Have you talked to the tourism, the committee, or whatever it's called?
Nevada has.
Oh, they have.
And we're actually working on a grant with the tourism money now. I have to finish a letter to them this afternoon,
So this would be 3 days a week, just the summer or the whole year?
just summertime. And it's a 2-year pilot project.
More information, if we aren't at the legislature on March the 12th, we could go to Seaside, to the Oceanfront Resort, and they will be having an all-day conference session from 9:30 to 4:30.
Half of us could go each place.
The Oregon Coast Visitors
So
Association?
I would really, this would be the Northwest, whatever Northwest Transit Mountain network of some kind or another.
Okay.
Again, that's at Oceanside on the Ocean View Resort at Promenade. I have a Zoom ticket. I would glad to share because I think I'm going to promote going to Salem, so.
Okay.
Tracy, what's the source, how did you get that information? How did you get that information about that?
That was presented on the when we had the Northwest Transportation Zoom meeting. And it was a place you could click on and.
Is it open to the public?
It is open to the public.
I've not seen it anywhere.
Just on there, I'll look and
Yeah,
see.
we should try to get it out there, because there's probably people that, maybe even Archgate people might want to go.
Okay.
Possible?
Okay, we'll do some follow-up on that.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, approval of the SETD updated drug and alcohol policy. Who's gonna help us out with that?
Jennifer has that.
I'll just read the cover letter I wrote November 14th, or what we had an RLS associations conduct a review, a compliance review over our drug and alcohol program. The current policy in place needs revisions and updates to be compliant with the US DOT regulations, primarily addressing the changes and updates to 49 CFR Part 40. And it was amended on June 1st, 2023. RLS provided a attached template. I placed SETD in all the appropriate places, and RLS has already approved it. So I'm just asking, I'm recommending if the board wouldn't mind approving the updated drug and alcohol policy for zero tolerance.
Thanks for your work on that.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Paul?
I'll
moves to
second.
approve. Tracy, second. Discussion?
I just have
Pam?
two things. One, if you could change from chairman to chair. My pages probably don't correspond to yours at the end, the last page, almost the last page.
Oh, okay.
For the signature page?
And this is a suggestion. I did read it. If I were an employee, I'd be overwhelmed. So I was suggesting having a table of contents.
Table of contents for this policy?
Yeah,
It goes in with the rest of our policies, and so it's not a standalone policy?
no, I meant if you're an employee, like for example, there's a lot of problems, not problems, but issues with marijuana, because it's against the law, federal, and, it's okay here. So if I were an employee, this does not mean I smoke marijuana, that you could look it up, because this is rather loaded here with a lot of specific items. So if you wanted to really, even though you're having an hour training on this, I have to say, you would have to read this several times to know where to go. So I think a table of contents would really help out.
Okay, so I think we're ready for a vote.
Chair Dr. Reed,
Yes.
Secretary Treasurer Paula Ritchie,
Yes.
Commissioner Debbie Bush-Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Pamela Alegria,
Yes,
Commissioner Charles Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Tracy McDonald,
Yes?
Commissioner Glamro Romero,
Yes.
motion passes.
I have different numbered pages, because I took it early. How about the recruiting committee? I have it on page 21.
Oh, the guidelines?
Yeah, so I don't know if,
Yeah, I think we kind of came and went on that, didn't we? But I just wanted people to have that handy so that they knew
okay.
what our recruiting committee guidelines are, just to formalize them a little bit. And so if anybody has any questions, they can refer to that. Thank you for bringing that up, Bill.
I have a question. So to be compliant with my review and the findings I have to pay attention to, I have to have it done by March 7th. The approval, I can have at the end of the day. and submit that with my,
Probably,
okay.
we can probably get
Because
something done for you.
yeah, they want meeting minutes.
Can we do?
Or the
Oh.
resolution, I need a resolution or something, that
For-
I can send
For
to.
the policy, the drug policy?
I have to send, proof of approval from the board to RLS
We can do a resolution.
By when? Do you have a resolution?
next week.
We can have a little minutes by then. Unless you, I mean, I can't really make a,
Can you do a resolution, Mary, or does it have to be read? It has to be read, huh?
I have to go upstairs and write it.
Oh, so but it has to be read in
Yeah.
the, oh, never mind, sorry.
Well, what do you need? How can
Because
we,
you need some minutes done by when.
Can I ask a question? Is this an RLS deadline?
Yes.
You know, my input is that we just contact RLS and explain that the meeting was today. Our minutes won't be done for 14 days or whatever, and either leave it at that or request an extension.
Okay, I
I
can do
mean,
that.
it's not the world according to RLS.
How long before
Right.
the recording is available?
About 7 days from today. I can speed it up and maybe get it within 4.
I was just gonna say, you might be able to say, you can view it on the recording, but the actual minutes
I
won't be.
can ask for an extension.
Let me know if
I'll
they,
just have to,
yeah, let me know if they give you any.
you know, he's
Issues.
really easy, yeah, he's
Okay.
very,
Okay.
because I also have testing that has to be done, and so I get involved. Yeah.
Just want to add, the resolution thing is a great thing, but I just have to know in advance. It's a
Yes.
great way of having documentation of approval of a vote. It's a great way, but I got no advance, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
okay, great, sounds like we found a workaround.
Yes, yeah.
On that, super. Okay, county special districts elections?
Okay, so I can take that one. This is the year that special districts is up for elections, and I just wanted to let everybody here know that the board has 4 positions that are up and running. Position 2, Rebecca Reed. Position 3, Charles Weathers. Position 4, Pamela Allegra. And Paul, your position is up. That'll just bring you up to speed where your position should be, so it doesn't get all out of whack. Right? Okay, that's not very.
The position has to be part of this election.
Yes.
So this
yes.
position is just running for 2 years?
2 years.
2 years.
Okay. So those are the 4 positions that are up this year, or for this year. Filing dates, the first date for filing would be February 8th, and the last day to file is March 20th. March 28th is the deadline to have your statements in for the voters pamphlet. I think that's $75 to do that, maybe. The last day to register to vote is April 29th. Ballots will start hitting mailboxes after April 30th, and you should have them by May 15th. And election day is May 20th. If you mail your ballots, they just have to be postmarked on the 20th, but they still have to reach the courthouse at least 7 days after that. You have 7 days. So if the post office is slow and it's 9 days, your ballot's not going to be counted.
But you can, Charles, go ahead. I see your hand.
Yeah. Does it cost anything to put the picture alone? I know she said $75 for a statement. I don't necessarily want to put a statement in there, but I wouldn't mind putting a picture in there. Is that $75 as well?
$75 for an entry in the voter's pamphlet.
Okay, but if we just fill out the necessary paperwork, there's no picture included with that. That's just.
There is a picture.
You
There
can
is a
put your
picture.
picture or not, either way.
But is that $75 for the picture, or there's no cost for the picture?
$75 to put your name and a picture and your information in the voter's pamphlet.
Okay, so if you didn't want your information, but you want your picture, it's still $75. I think that's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, I don't remember it being that way before, but I got you.
I think it's $75.
Okay.
We could have you someplace with Haystack Rock in the background.
Hey, what's that?
Okay, thank you, Debbie.
Pam maybe has a question.
Oh, Pam, excuse me.
What is the $10,000 for in the election line item then?
It's to pay for the pamphlets, for all of our information in the pamphlets to go out to all the voters.
Is this divided among special districts?
That's just for our district. It's every 2 years, I think it is.
Oh, okay,
Every 2 years.
thank you.
Back on.
Okay. Do we
So
have
we don't
any?
need, we don't need to do any, it'll be invoicing us? Is that what it'll be doing? So all we need to do is file, and then that's gonna be our sort of, our introduction, so to speak, to the voter.
He has to file.
I can't hear him very well.
I can't, Charles, could you repeat yourself? I'm not sure about what you said.
Okay, let me see if I can get some more volume here.
Yeah.
Okay, is whatever the district is sending out, what is that?
The district isn't sending out anything.
It was
We just have to-
$2,000.
We have to pay for our information to be in the voters' pamphlets.
Oh, okay.
So that's what the district pays for, is in order for all of the pamphlets to go out with our information in them. It's our portion of the pamphlet.
But
Oh,
it's not any candidate, it's not any of the commissioners listed on that particular information.
No.
I thought it was to defray the cost of mailing pamphlets, because there was a time where people wanted to discontinue the pamphlets. No? Okay.
I don't know about
The
that.
county, it hasn't been that many years ago that the county started putting out a county pamphlet because the voters finally voted it in, and so the county had to take it on. But for many, many years, there was no voters pamphlet for special districts or anything local. It was just state.
Oh,
And if you weren't running for a state position, you didn't get in the voters pamphlet.
Oh, okay.
So it hasn't been that many years that the county started putting out their own.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And not every county does that, which is kind of sad.
Really?
So as a special district in the election, then we have an obligation to the county for that.
So that's not law, that's special districts in the state have to. Interesting. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any correspondence that we received?
Just from Robert, and he covered everything in his correspondence, so that takes care of that.
Okay, very good. Executive Director report.
I filled in some boxes this time.
Is he then?
Nice
You've been
little black
busy.
letters all over the place.
So our RLS review, I thought went really well. They have some recommendations. We haven't got the final report yet, but I think we were all pleasantly surprised at the exit interview that it went so well. Let me see, we had the fire marshal come in and do a walkthrough. You'll find a lot of doors that used to be open are now closed because those are fire doors and you're not allowed to prop them open like we had. So all the little props have been taken off the doors and you can go through the building without a key most of the time.
Yeah.
So
Can't lock them during
the
the day.
other couple of things that they found is there's no address on the building,
There is on the
which,
front. It says 900. I saw
is it
this
now?
morning.
It always has been.
It
They
was
want one
there.
on this side too.
It's on the front of the building,
Yeah.
like right outside of Victoria's office on the window. I saw it
Oh,
this
on the
morning.
window. He
Yeah.
didn't, the fire marshal didn't see it.
I'll take a picture and send it to him. It's
Anyway,
I saw it this morning.
in a better spot. He also said we needed a lockbox out by the front door, so if there's an emergency, they can't get hold of anybody, the fire marshal can get a key into the building. Otherwise, we did pretty good. We're gonna be doing the same thing out in the ops building. We'll be doing a walkthrough with them. I haven't heard if we've gotten a date for that or not. Okay. The other thing I'm working on is I'm gonna have the sheriff's office, they've got 2 deputies out there that are trained for active shooters. I'm gonna have them walk through the building also because they may have some other suggestions for that type of thing. And then we will do some training. We'll do training for this building. We'll do training for the ops buildings and also on a bus. Thank you, Jennifer, for bringing that up because I probably would not have thought about that. So just some things, safety things that we're trying to get caught up on a little bit here. Been attending a lot of meetings, lobby day. I meant to put that in here and I spaced it completely. But March 20th or March 12th in Salem is lobby day for transportation. We'll start working on that and trying to get some transportation down there. Maybe you can take a van or something if we have enough interested people in going. That would be great. Any questions?
If I could work, if you guys, I'd like to just, if you guys, I would like to do both the building training and the bus training.
Okay.
So.
Oh, well, yeah, we can sure let the board know if anybody wants to do the training.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Okay.
It'd be good to have participation.
Okay.
How about the legislative?
Thank you, Debbie.
Oh,
Any other questions for Debbie?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, Deborah.
I'm assuming, but I can't assume it, but I'm gonna ask it, do we have a protocol for shooting incidences in this building? Or,
Yeah.
Our emergency plan needs to be updated and some trainings done.
Okay.
So, yeah. That's the answer
Tracy?
for that. Not a good
Oh,
one.
okay. Got it.
I was just reading that.
Mary, how can I get one of those?
I'll email it to you. It is just from SEAO, a reminder, but I can email it to you, okay?
Oh, good. Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
Are you going to have
Okay.
it?
Debbie, you got something else?
Well, when we get to the ridership reports, we're working on revising those. Do you want me to hand out the new ones first, or do you want to go through these first?
Well,
We did take the color out,
yes, looks great.
Thank you very much.
and then
Simpler.
Paul, while he was watching some movie on TV, I'm sure he was playing with his computer. No, I'm just kidding. Paul came up with something that would be a little bit, so we could put more than one on a page. And these are just examples Paul did, and I was gonna do better on them, but this is,
Deb,
yes.
I know we've moved past active shooter, but often what we have is not necessarily a shooter, but just a danger to the office. Will the sheriff deal with that as well?
Take one of each.
I understand
Yeah.
an axe or hatchet deal or something that came up, will they deal with any kind of threat procedure or just shooter?
Yeah, it'll be any kind of threat, but they call it active shooter is just kind of
Here we go, Pamela.
Well, that's all.
an overall name, but yeah, they'll go through all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, because I heard something about an axe or something a while back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you need to do this, explain that again. Okay, all right.
I quit.
Wait a second.
Wait a minute.
These have all gone out of order, no
These
explanation.
are just,
not examples, these are active, current data.
but do they have to date, but I only printed 2 different ones, I didn't print all of them. So this, what's in the packet is also active data, or current data.
In the packet is whatever op submitted, or you submitted.
Take your time, folks, to get,
Why don't you go ahead with what's in there, and then I'll cover these
Okay.
things afterwards.
Okay, do you want to do that?
so Jennifer, do you want to do the stuff from the packet?
Fire away. There's only 2 different ones.
Is it the total fixed route ridership, is that the first one up?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I changed every slide, it's February through January. The title at the top of the first one is the fixed route ridership by month. So it encompasses all the fixed routes, Astoria down through Cannon Beach. And you'll see that since summer, we've kind of declined in ridership. That's we know that's happening weather-wise. We don't have the tourists as much in town, so it's pretty consistent. January increased from December, and little things can be, be the reason, more nicer days, holidays. January, we had the free ride day for the Homeless Connect and Seaside. We had a shuttle for that day. So little things can increase that ridership. More days in the month can be as simple as any of those things. The next slide was Route 10. Also January of 2025 was a slight increase, 200 riders. No changes in the route itself, but it could have been just, again, more days in the month, or weather, or holidays, people traveling. So we had a slight increase there. Moving on to the next slide, Route 15, which is the Warrenton-Hammond. It's only Monday through Friday. And again, this slide used to only be like October through, or September through current month, and I went back and did February and was like, why 000, and remembering we didn't start this route until May, and it's just about doubled some months, and we're pretty steady at 500 rides for such a 9.5 hour day, 5 days a week, and these riders are connecting with the 101 to go to Astoria, or riding the connecting with the 101 so they can get to Walmart, out to Costco, parole office. So even though it's 500 riders, it's very, very important rides. A lot of services, senior and disabled services.
Jennifer?
So it's an important route. Yes.
Was there, remember the school, the Warrenton school kids that really enjoyed riding and connecting after school?
Mm-hmm.
Has there been any follow-up on that, or kind of know where that group is? Are they are they using the bus now again once it started up there?
I know that a few have taken advantage of the route. It depends on the functions of the school during the school year. I know Jason's been doing training, so it's year-to-year student activity that's going on.
Okay. Well, they know it's running,
yes,
so they're probably
yes.
using it. Okay.
It goes right in front of the new school out in Warrenton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
And then over to Route 20, which is Cannon Beach Seaside, also Monday through Friday. It's taken a little bit of a dip. Of course, January's looks like about 125 more rides. Really increases in the summer because the hospitality work crew that we transport throughout the summer, so they really depend on that route. And connect with the Tillamook bus down in Cannon Beach, so it's we connect with them with the Route 20 and the Pacific Connector on the weekend, at least 2 to 3 times a day, and they're in Tillamook's in Cannon Beach 4 times a day, so it's very quite a few riders live in Tillamook or work on the Tillamook bus system, I should say. So riders are utilizing that. Pacific Connector, which is the only route on the weekend, and you can see in the summer it's over 1,000, and throughout the winter it's anywhere between high 800s. January took a dip, and again that can be just the mere fact that there's less Saturday Sundays than the month before. So and then we also, January was we had a heavy weather week, snow, ice, so that affects the buses too. So, and then paratransit, not just paratransit, but I call it ride assist because we also do dial-a-ride, and we're a provider for the NEMT, Medicaid brokerage, and so this is all the rides that the curb-to-curb service does. So they're holding pretty steady at the high 900s. And we're getting people to and from. And they transport, they're putting good 100 miles each vehicle a day. That's a lot of rides. from Astoria to Cannon Beach, we service, so they can get to medical and social services and daughter's house, and, you know, we don't just do medical for them, so. Any questions on the ridership slides?
Pam?
I don't have questions on this presentation, but how many routes are have not been reinstated, or loops? And what are they?
The summer routes we have not done actually in quite a few years, is Route 21, which is the weekday Seaside to Cannon Beach. It would run on Saturday and Sunday and do the same service. We have not reinstated that one.
That one went down to COVID, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, so that route actually went down before the shutdown. Kelly was, yeah, during COVID. We didn't bring that route back. And then
Weekend 13.
Yes, thank you. Weekend 13 is the Astoria route. And then all the routes that are on the road right now, they used to have an AM shift and a PM shift, and right now it's one shift. So we are not in Astoria till after 9 o'clock in the morning. Before shutdown, we were in Astoria at 6 a.m. Route 10, which is Astoria, it ends at 5:30. We used to run till almost 10 o'clock at night. And that was, every route was that way. It started at 5:30 in the morning and ended at 10 o'clock at night. And
With twice the routes too, I mean.
Yes.
Slower in between,
Yeah.
like twice the
So what is
availability.
Is there a plan, strategy in the near future to try to reinstate, or we're not at that point?
That would be probably double the funding, I would assume. Just, that's twice as many drivers to cover those routes because it was an AM shift and a PM shift. So that's 2 drivers for the Route 10 one. Right now we're utilizing 1 driver 5 days a week. It's a 40 hours a week for that 1 driver.
So probably we're talking about years to do this.
That would, yeah.
Jen and I will talk
Yeah.
for budget. That's part of the reason why I send out to the department heads for budget. And we've chatted a little bit about trying to kind of fill in some of those gaps, you know, something to kind of look at this next year as we go into budget. But it'll be something that we'll have to sit down together and
it'd probably be small, like
Yeah.
we would add a couple of hours to the Route 10.
Yeah.
Fill in we'd have to prioritize those gaps. Like, do we want to add service to the 10, or are we going to fill the gap on Route 20? Because they have a layover of 2.5 hours in the middle of the day. And so, yeah, do we do it all at once? You know, that would be a shocking, you know.
So is that the question I have is that would be a pretty easy decision to make, where to start prioritizing the infills?
I think so, yeah. I think, yeah, we get our team together and discuss the options and definitely see where the highest need is. Where's the highest request? Where are the people that need service? Emerald Heights doesn't get service till after 9:30. They're not getting to work through us. You know, they're paying a taxi 3 times. I don't know. Anyway,
So the needs are there.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
low income housing. There are some requirements to, you know, equal service on equal sides of the county for your low income, elderly, people with disabilities. So you have to meet all those.
Okay, well, keep
Yeah,
us posted on when you're in those discussions.
Yes.
Paul?
If I could just offer a little context for the board's benefit here. When we shut down, we were running the Portland route. We were running, I can't remember now, 4 runs a day, 7 days a week, 3 runs a day, 7 days a week. That was taking a minimum of 4 drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Every month, and that was a lot of money. We were using, if I remember right, probably 70 gallons of fuel on each round trip. We had a driver sitting at the other end, it was a huge expense, and I think that we've all, at least for the short to mid-term, agreed that that's probably not something we want to get back into. And our funding at this point is not less than it was when we were operating at full tilt. So bear in mind that whole overhead of Portland and the 4 drivers and the 2 big buses, that one bus, I know we put $20,000 of repair in 1 year. All that's gone. The funding for the most part is still there. So when we
don't
look
have
at
the intercity funding that we had.
Which was how much?
I don't remember off the top of my head. It wasn't a lot. We funded a lot of that because our match on that grant was large, but we did have funding for the Portland route that we no longer have.
Do you mean Lower Columbia by Portland Route? Okay.
All right, still, there's a huge savings there over what we used to have to carry.
Thank you for that.
When we still have the loan, we need to get paid too.
That's right. Jennifer, did you want to go through any of your?
Tracy.
Oh, excuse me, Tracy, I'm sorry.
That's all right. And I just wanted to just chime in for the, Charles?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's away from, he doesn't
Oh, he's
realize
away
he's
from his, okay.
on audio.
Okay, we'll be looking at his banking account, so. I just wanted to also chime in for, as we remember last month's staff reports, the increase in the dial-a-ride things in the Napa area. And as you guys talk about budgets, I understand that our former director has somewhere in his brain planned a route out there. And I realize that's talking about new revenue, and the same thing that Paul just mentioned is that those require drivers and support and gas and everything, but that also serves within our service area. We still have those people from Napa in our service area, and we don't provide that service out there for them, so that's all.
Thanks, Tracy. Jennifer, did you want to run through your,
Before we move on,
okay,
okay.
who wants to cover this?
So I apologize, we got this Tuesday night. I was sick Monday and Tuesday, so catching up on things yesterday. So I did send these out to Jason and Jennifer yesterday. Paul has devised this plan where we could put 4 on a page. And Jennifer and Jason both said they could work with this and use that, so we'd be saving quite a bit of paper.
Great.
If the board approves of something like this. And thank you for putting this together. I know.
I have a lot of free time these days.
Paul's really
I
good
also
at
heard
graphs.
you like to do graphs, so.
I do like to work that. I don't have any projects to do.
And to me, it
Excel
just
these
looks a
days.
lot easier than playing with these. I tried to take the color out for a little bit, and then I called Jason and said, Jason, I can't do this. So he was able to take the color out, so we weren't using so much ink. But I kind of like these.
They're good at a glance.
So if the board would rather see this, I think it'd be easier for you guys also, wouldn't it?
Okay. So any opposition to going with this 4-up format?
Good idea.
Will you share your templates with?
They are available, a nominal fee.
I knew that was coming.
He is a businessman.
I'll buy you a cup of
We'll work
coffee
you
one of
down.
these days.
It'll cost you lunch, but yeah. I can do it.
Lunch? Say a cup of coffee.
If I might just make a couple of comments, my interest last month was that we were using 7 pieces of paper and using a lot of black ink, and I thought that was unnecessary. The purpose of these graphs is just to give us an overview at a glance as to what's going on. I tried to put all of the charts on one page, but for those of you who are older, myself, the type gets pretty small, so it did end up on 2 pages. However, the 2 pages are different. If you look at the page that has the green Route 20 in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see some gray bars on there next to the colored bars. And this, I added the previous year's ridership, so that you don't only see the last 12 months, but you see the last 12 months compared to the previous 12 months. On Route 20, the last year isn't there because Craig wasn't breaking it down that way until the last 3 months that he was here. And then I did add a graph, the bottom right quadrant on that page, that has the multicolored bars, which shows the total ridership and how it breaks out for each route. So I felt that this way of presenting them gives a little more information, uses a lot less paper and ink, hopefully is still aesthetically pleasing, and gives the information that the board needs.
Yeah, looks great.
That's
Thank you, Paul.
all right. Thank you.
Right. Talent in our midst. Okay, all right. So Jennifer, we read your little 4 up here, but is there anything you wanted to highlight for us on that? Your activities?
I'm just busy. A lot
Just
going
busy,
on,
you
yeah.
look busy.
Yeah. Definitely have a great crew, and we just really band together and, helping each other out, especially the HR, there's quite a few of us tackling different projects and being able to tie it all together, looking up information, so it's working out well. We're getting ready to interview some drivers. We're still trying to fill positions of people that have left. So that's also a new endeavor to learn, because there's requirements that have to happen in that, and when you're interviewing a DOT employee that has to abide by the DOT drug and alcohol, and there's things that have to happen, and so you have to do that as the interview and then sign certain paperwork, and so we learn as we go. So we're hoping to get that taken care of, and 3 of them have their CDL, so that's really encouraging, because with 2 supervisors, and they're going 3 different directions, they would have to train somebody if we ended up hiring somebody without a CDL, when we had 4 supervisors before shutdown. So that's a heavy load, but we're willing to do it. They would have to be trained with us, otherwise they'd go to a truck driving school that costs $10,000 plus. So that's, so it's just, we take it as we can, as it comes, and then we make it work. Solve problems. Transit Employee Day is on March 18th. We'll have a barbecue and celebrate the employees and that we're here and we're doing what we're doing. So.
What date, Jennifer? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What date?
March 18th. I believe
March
it is
18th.
a Tuesday.
Do you have a
Transit
time on that?
employee. I do not yet.
Okay.
We'll probably do, I believe we've done in the past, we've just kind of had an open house, but we have to do like 2 separate meetings, because drivers, shift change and things like that, so that hasn't been solidified yet, but we'll definitely probably do like an
We'll let
open
the board
house.
know. All right, super, great.
And the elevator rust mitigation project has been scheduled, so we're gonna get that corrected probably right before the inspections due. So.
Well, it sounds like it's a doable, the
Yes.
repairs are not gonna.
2 days
Yeah,
of
me
grinding
too.
and welding, and then he'll
Yeah.
be done, yes.
Great,
Yeah.
all right.
So,
Okay.
any questions?
Charles.
Yeah, Jennifer, we all came to that icy spell last week. How did we do as far as service and endanger our drivers as well as our passengers? Did we do okay?
We did great, no accidents, no incidents. We run buses with chains and or studded tires. Route 10, I believe, only did snow routes for most of the worst day. So they didn't do the hill, they didn't go up to the college. The college was closed anyways for 3 days before they thawed. But otherwise, they were still able to get down to Cannon Beach. And our paratransit, they kind of always get left behind. They're the ones that have to go down people's driveways, so they also were able to get through safely, and no chains, and confidence definitely can be your advocate for confidence in driving, you know, helps stay safe, so, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I have one?
What did I forget?
Trash cans?
Oh, they're going to be on order. If I can talk to, getting finance to pass the budget
They
request.
will be on Jennifer's budget request for next fiscal year, and at the beginning of the fiscal year, we will order them, but we can't do that this fiscal year.
Do we have proposals from the contractors for the?
I have an old one, I need to get an updated one. I have one from last year, and I'll have to get an updated one.
Okay,
Do you know what else she did?
tell me.
I probably saved enough money to buy one garbage can.
Yeah, she canceled a bunch of lines on the Verizon bill.
Oh, yeah, I saw
And the
that.
stamp.
Thank you very
And
much.
the-
It's down, yeah, see?
Very
Teamwork
good.
makes the dream work.
Yeah.
Find money somewhere.
Yeah.
Sounds like some good savings there.
Yes.
All
thank you.
right.
Can I jump in just for a
Sure.
minute? We have also done interviews for HR, put it back out there, and I need to have Jason and Jennifer go through our new resumes and see who we want to interview out of that. So
What's the
we're still
deadline?
working on HR.
What's the deadline? Oh, that's right.
Open until filled.
So I-
Yeah.
We closed it, we took applications until the end of last week,
And we got another 10 or 12.
at least. I mean, not all of them are stellar, but, you know.
So
Thank you, Debbie. Thanks for the work on that. I'm sure we're gonna be relieved to have that position filled.
yes.
Absolutely. Okay, I don't see Nicole on the call here, but Jason, do you have an update for us?
Yeah, really short one. Apologies, I'm dealing with a really massive ear infection, so I can't really hear anybody all that well. But just the Project Homeless Connect was amazing. We ended up interacting with 125 individuals, or at least that's how many bags I handed out. We did thankfully for the individuals that were there, allows me to be able to go off and spend some quality time, a little longer than just a simple hello, and work with individuals. And I thought it was pretty cool. Our board members who were there and so forth, and Stephanie with the Spanish side of things, they were able to take some time as well with individuals and talk to them for a little more time, spend some good quality time with them. So that was very, very appreciative. I think very successful Project Homeless Connect. I continue in everything else, trying to help anywhere that I can possibly help out in, especially with HR. And let's see here, what else? That's about it right now. If you got any questions, I can definitely answer that.
No questions? All right, thank you, Jason, very much for your work. And Mary?
Hello. Well, we're all really busy. There's so many things going on. My piece of this is making sure that all the public announcements are made way ahead of time, that we know where the meetings are, people know when to come, and they get a packet before that, which has been a lot. We've had quite a few meetings. Really excited about the Transportation Advisory Committee meeting on a regular basis. This committee should be a tool for us and help us make decisions. That's the way it's set up in other transit districts and other communities, basically. So I'm hoping this will grow and become something that is close to the board, that we're utilizing this committee. They are reviewing their bylaws And there's a separate committee to be doing that. That's a big undertaking, as you know, to review bylaws. Looking at examples from other TAC committees in the state, and yeah, there's a kind of a big difference in what we have and what is currently being used. A little bit, ours are kind of heavy, but nonetheless, and I don't know where they came from, because we've been using those same bylaws for 14 years, so I don't know where the original bylaws actually came from. They could have come from SDAO even, I don't know. But
Is there, I'd like to propose, and Debbie, this, talk about this for the agenda for next month, so that we can become more informed about the benefits of working more closely with the TAC.
it'd be a really good idea. We had a meeting, 2 meetings, we've had 2 meetings, January and February, and one in December, so that's 3 in a row that we've had. Before that, I think it was like, 2023 or something like that, since we've had one. I really think it was 2024, but having maybe the chair come to the board meetings would be good for him and good for the board to discuss.
Okay.
And now we have Brian on the TAC, and they have a TAC committee, of course, down in Tillamook, and I think he will bring a lot of good substance, if you would, to it. And I'm really looking forward to it. This is usually the executive directors under their umbrella of a committee that the executive director controls, that utilizes. So we can get things kind of back where they should be, which is great. I've been looking for a place to hold the job interviews, and so have given up on the Boynton building because of all the windows and the lack of privacy and the lack of a place for the candidates to be in a private room if they want to be in between. So I think that seemed to be really important last time, that we have a place where they could go sit, and the Boynton doesn't offer that. It just doesn't. I just didn't want to put paper over the windows and have that look.
Do you have a place now?
Yes, I've got 2, and they're both about the same price. I'm still waiting for the price confirmation of the one that's down by
Hampton Inn. I think it was Hampton Inn or the Holiday Inn.
I'm still waiting, and the Holiday Inn. I have registered us for that already. There's just in the getting it, so we make sure and get it on that.
Good.
But I'm leaning towards the Holiday Inn just because it's just a little bit more spacious and a little, I don't know, just, they're working with me, and I like that, because I've called the manager of the Hampton no less than 4 times and left my message begging, please call me back. I've met with them down there and looked at the facility, and it's similar to Holiday Inn, with large room divided into 2, and then a separate boardroom. And then, of course, they have a big common area on both of them where people can go relax in between, or we can have coffee there and stuff. So when the rooms are closed, there's still some place for staff and those waiting to mingle, if you would. So anyway, it will cost about $1,000. When we rented the college, it was about $1,000 as well. So I feel like that's a good price.
Yeah.
It'll be a little bit more because
at this point, unless Hampton Inn really gives you a heck of a deal,
right,
we should just go with the Holiday Inn.
Yeah. I've pushed forward on it.
Okay.
Great. Know that.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything else. I don't think so. That's about it.
Take a question from Tracy?
No, just a comment again. The TAC community, the advisor TAC group.
Transportation Advisory Committee.
Advisory Committee is historically in other districts and that I've had experience with, is where you can get succession training for board members, because that they are introduced to how we work and where all the players are and that kind of thing. And so it's a good training ground to have that. So I really am thankful that you guys are
Yes.
updating that thing.
They have been used, a lot, not here, in other areas, to approve routes prior to them being
Yes.
approved by the board. It's presented to the Transportation Advisory Committee first, and then it comes to the board. And I think that's great. There's more feedback. The membership, like Pamela was talking about earlier, is there is a requirement, or it's not really a requirement, but you have a representative this, a representative that, a rider, someone that's using paratransit, someone that is, as an official government person in the community, so that and then another transit manager. Doug was here before, and so was on the committee before, so you get a broad spectrum of people that give the board. So I'm hoping we get it going, and they become part of what we do.
All right. Thank you, Mary, for all your hard work
Thank you.
this month. Okay, anything else for the good of the order here before we adjourn? Seeing none, I adjourn the meeting at 11:43 a.m. Closed.